Migrants from Central America gathering along a fence between Tijuana and San Diego.
Ideally, we wouldn't be dealing with the massive influx of illegal immigrants coming across the border
during the perilous journey from North Africa to a better life in Europe.
As we speak, border policies are stripping people of their basic human rights. Children separated from families and detained, migrants arrested and tried with no lawyer for traffic violations, parents deported on the way to work, leaving their families without income. In countries around the world, borders pose a problem to both citizens and refugees. Laws that uphold human rights are suspended, and governments provide a variety of excuses for these horrific acts, such as maintaining border security or supporting national economies. As De Leon defines it, the state of exception is the process whereby sovereign authorities declare emergencies in order to suspend the legal protection afforded to individuals while simultaneously unleashing the power of the state upon them. Throughout this video, the states of exception surrounding multiple international borders are explored, showing us how ingrained these moral dilemmas are within closed border policies. One of the most prominent states of exception today is the U.S.-Mexico border. It's enacted through governmental policy and feeds into the everyday lives of migrants. The Trump administration has made asylum and detention centers an integral part of U.S. immigration policy to withhold migrants from access to the U.S. Border Patrol actions like the denial of basic medical needs and abuse from the guards at these centers clearly reflects the lack of human rights that are legitimized because these places are seen as exceptions to American society. Migrants' rights are further devalued through family separation at the border. Although President Trump reversed the zero-tolerance policy, at least 700 migrant children had been separated from their families before the zero-tolerance policy went public, a reflection of how traditional policy practices are ignored in favor of breaking down migrants. Currently, children are being detained in camps miles from the rest of their family, which are used to keep migrant children in a state of exception for the remainder of their lives. The lack of empathy and discrimination is apparent in our society, as former Chief of Staff John Kelly stated separated migrant children would be placed into foster care or whatever, ignoring the fact that most children who end up in the foster care system fall into a cycle of poor education, resources, and care. The lawlessness and apathy are characteristics migrants face the moment they arrive here. Even if they pass the physical state of exception of the U.S.-Mexico border, it's almost impossible to escape the racism that perpetuates exceptions to laws and basic human rights in American society. The Dominican-Haitian border is heavily policed. Now, Dominican legislation is openly targeting Haitians, leaving them stateless. In 2010, the Dominican government amended their policy of natural-born citizenship, granting citizenship only to children born to legal residents. In 2013, Dominican courts declared that the new policy could be applied retroactively, all the way back to 1929. Hundreds of thousands of Dominicans, mostly of Haitian descent, became stateless. If they wanted to stay in the Dominican Republic, they had to register as a foreigner through a process labeled by Amnesty International as a legal maze. As a result, 55,000 Dominican Haitians have been officially deported. Additionally, the UN estimates that 128,000 voluntarily fled to Haiti. These stateless Dominicans cannot be recognized as Haitian, and they have few or no connections in Haiti. Those who managed to register in the Dominican Republic now cannot vote, enroll in higher education, or have legal employment. The state of exception has spread from the Dominican-Haitian border through increased border policing and anti-Haitian sentiments. Perhaps the DR isn't only America's backyard, but also a warning to the dangers of a growing state of exception. The Mediterranean Sea has been used to create a state of exception that continues to expand and kill migrants. Spain has contributed to this concept through cooperating with checkpoint countries. Collaborating with Senegal, Spain can immediately track migrant boats that have left Senegalese checkpoints and catch them before reaching the shores. Inland countries are also enacting policies that contribute to statelessness. In 2001, police forces in France often used practices of passive soliciting or identifying vague, suspicious behavior to target migrants. Yet in 2001, this policy wasn't even practiced legally, but in the name of security. After legalization in 2004, passive soliciting became even more validated to the point that undocumented deportations, identity checks, and violence against women have all increased since. Both Spain and France characterize the manipulation of the state of exception through maximizing resources, exhibiting power, and acting upon discrimination. The state of exception is played out from the start of their journey to today, unable to obtain full equality and unable to find a true home. When putting all these borders together, there's a clear pattern of discrimination in policy, but more importantly, all of those policies contribute a sense of statelessness that migrants can feel. Although the future may seem bleak, breaking down these policies and speaking out could significantly change the landscape of policy. Giving voices to these migrants and providing humanitarian aid is a level of change that we can all participate in to give these migrants the rights they deserve.